This week on RSBANDB Update, we're 1 week into the mining and smithing rework, and we're thoroughly enjoying ourselves. We're back with discussion on missing items, including Smelting Gauntlets and the Crystal Hammer. Plus, are we at the tip of a rebirth of Adamant and Rune Smithing? This is RSBANDB Update, episode 707, recorded Thursday, January 17th, 2019, the Rune Renaissance. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to RSBANDB Update. Just Tannis and myself in this week. 1 week on for the mining and smithing rework. Still enjoying yourself?
Still beautiful. Still beautiful. And I finished my masterwork, so.
Oh, good.
It's good.
You know, I didn't start that yet because I had been sinking enough time into the mining and smithing rework that my farm animals were getting restless.
Uh-oh.
So I needed to put some time into that. Spend a couple days gathering mushrooms and whatnot to keep the mushroom people fed. But beyond that, just trying to get back into general routine. And the mining and smithing rework, I think, is an update that we're talking about this week. Jagex is talking about this week, and we're going to be talking about for the foreseeable future going forward, I think. So what we're going to do this week is we're going to go over some of our little things that we missed last week with the mining and smithing rework, just because, well, I mean, it was a pretty huge podcast, right? And
it was a big podcast, but it's an even bigger update, you know? So there's going to be things that come to the surface, you know?
And, you messaged me after, oh, we forgot this. The next day, oh, we forgot this. And just in time for the bite, we forgot this.
Yeah.
So, in any case, we're going to jump right in with that. And one of the first things we actually wanted to mention was the Smelting Gauntlets. So, these are previously the goldsmithing gauntlets, and they would give you bonus XP when you would smelt gold. And obviously, that's a very limited use, and they want to make it expand to the entire skill. And this comes from the Family Crest quest, of course, with the Cooking Gauntlets and the Chaos Gauntlets, among all others. But these ones actually have a really interesting feature, don't they, Tannis?
You know, I'm almost afraid to draw attention to it because every time they find out there's a good quest reward, they seem to get rid of it. But yes, this actually has like a very, very useful feature to where if you're smelting bars, it will deposit them for you so that you can do 60 at a time. And that is so good. I can't even tell you how good that is if you're actually smelting bars, if you're making your own bars. It's really great.
So you can do 60 at a time, but also what happens with that is that your gauntlets send that ore directly to your metal bank. They don't even appear in your inventory. And for you, that's a huge accessibility boost.
Oh my God, dude, I think that was the first thing I had messaged you. I'm like, oh my God, this is so good. Because, it's really good.
So there's that. And, I mean, people have been wondering how can we increase the AFK-ness of smithing and smelting in one regard. So there's one, and you still get the bonus bars, and those are actually sent by default to the metal bank, so you don't need to worry about those. But there is one other thing with this. If you use Superheat Item inside the Artisan's Workshop, it will also send those bars that you make with Superheat Item to your metal bank if you're wearing the Smelting Gauntlets.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So with that being said, Smelting Gauntlets are something everybody should definitely have a look at if you haven't. And if you have these sitting in your bank, it costs you 25k GP just to convert your Cooking Gauntlets to Smelting Gauntlets. That's what mine were before I ended up converting them. So
yeah, and you don't have to take them to the people anymore. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
You can just, is it a right click or just a dialogue? I don't remember, but I know you don't have to. You used to have to take them to the the different brothers or whatever. And now you don't have to do that.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I don't know when that came in. So
Yeah, it was there before, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah.
So the next thing that we talked about was the crystal hammer. Now, the crystal hammer on its own, I don't have because I really didn't take the time investment to put into these elven tools when they were around. But everything that you knew about the crystal hammer has changed. Now it gives a plus 1% chance for double progress when smithing any metal. And you can, of course, combine that then with the rapid perk, which makes your heat decrease twice as fast. So if you're doing active smithing gameplay, you might as well put the rapid perk on it. There's also Tinker, which gives you a between 2 and 6% chance of making double progress while smithing as well. So as you can see, if you are looking to maximize your smithing rates, the crystal hammer with these two perks are a good thing to be looking at.
Yep.
So, I wonder, do you think...
And you're getting invention, too. So
yeah, but my only concern with that is that the crystal hammer is tier 70. So if you were to siphon it, you wouldn't get the same XP that you get with a Earth and Song pickaxe or a fish vacuum thing.
Are you sure? Because there's a version of the hammer that's like the same as the fish vacuum. Pretty sure.
Let's see.
Forget what it's called.
Right. So, augmenter on a crystal hammer. So that's the one we were talking about with that. Mm-hmm. Augmenter on a crystal hammer. So let's just have a look at the invention tools list. I feel like you're right, but I never really looked into this at the time because smithing was, well, I mean, you just smith,
right, yeah.
You just smith Addy plate bodies, and that was the end of it. At the
exactly.
Day. Let's see, devices. That would fall under a device, right?
I would think.
Okay, so the device. Okay, so we got the Hammertron. The Hammertron is a augmented version of a regular hammer, meaning it uses divine charges, levels up through training, can be disassembled or siphoned for invention XP with the same XP rates as a tier 70 hammer. So that one is tier 70. They're both tier 70. Now, is there any way to make it a higher level one? No, we don't have a device that takes it to tier 90.
Okay.
So, though I guess what you would do is that you would just save time and you would just disassemble it rather than siphoning a crystal hammer at 12. But
okay.
But you don't want to use the Hammertron anymore because the crystal hammer has the benefit of having that chance of increasing progress.
Yes.
So.
Yep.
So I think that answers that one, and I think looking at it that way, the crystal hammer needs to be focused around the smithing application rather than the invention application. I think there's better ways to train invention. So.
Yeah, but I mean, at least you get a little bit of something, on the way as you're training.
Okay. Then the next fun little thing that we had a look at, and we talked about this in the bite this week, is that there's also this interesting synergy with Grace of the Elves. And I remember us talking when Grace of the Elves came out. Okay, Grace of the Elves has the drain rate of Superheat Form, but Superheat Form isn't really used that much in this day and age. Well, it is now, because as we mentioned last week, Superheat Form makes smithing at medium heat as though you're smithing at high heat, and smithing at low heat as though you're smithing at medium heat. So that's why you want to use Superheat Form. Now, Grace of the Elves has the drain rate of that Saren Curse, but if you put on a Prayer Overload potion, you don't lose any prayer points.
Mm-mm. This is beautiful.
So you have.
It's almost like they knew that was going to be a thing.
Yeah, and you know that's incredible foresight on Mod Timbo's part when designing Grace of the Elves. So that's good we caught that. And what this effectively means is that if you're looking to do AFK smithing, the AFK smithing route is that you will use the auto heater combined with superheat form, Grace of the Elves, and a prayer renewal potion. And then every 5 minutes, you will add in another dose of prayer renewal. And when your item finishes, lo and behold, you'll just start a new one, and there you go. You got AFK smithing XP. That's decent. You're smithing at medium heat throughout the entirety of it. That's the lowest you get. So that's our AFK smithing meta. Now, I should also mention that this week it was hotfixed that the Dungeoneering auto heater for coal has been upgraded. Well, maybe it's an upgrade, maybe it's a downgrade, depending on how you look at it. It has been upgraded to use 5 pieces of coal every time it activates rather than just 1.
Yeah, I mean,
that needed to happen because, you know, what other use is there for coal in this game aside from steel and mithril at this time?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's fine. I mean, I think that was probably off.
I think it might even need to go higher, but we'll see.
Man, I mean, 5 is significant, but you're right. We'll just have to see how it pans out. If it's still doing what it's supposed to do, which is to be the coal sink, then I mean, I don't think it needs messed with anymore. But
yeah.
If it's not doing that, then yeah.
And, you know, the only reason I ask about this is I'm wondering, from an economic perspective, what is supposed to be the purpose of coal from Miscellanea now?
Well, I'm about to turn mine on for the auto heater.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, this is interesting. Jagex didn't even update the coal image on their Grand Exchange item database. Still the old one. That's a neat little side effect. But, yeah, in any case, coal is currently selling for 90 GP each. So that's
not worth what it used to.
No. Okay, so there's that. Now, I think the next thing that we need to mention is Traherne Hour. Yeah,
Traherne Hour is actually still good.
I was amazed at this because I went and I had a look at the friends chats that are now spotting the Luminites in Prif, and the first 2 or 3 of them were completely full. So.
Yeah, no, it's actually really good. You can get the light and the dark Animica, and amazingly enough, it's still a good like 3 or 4 mil for that hour. I don't know how they managed it, but it's right on par with what it was.
Yeah, and you know, I'm wondering if that's going to stay that way. And I haven't done any kind of economic analysis on anything yet. In my view, we're still heavily in flux in terms of where things are going to settle and how things are going, because it's just such a shock to the economy. So I'm not even going to entertain that thought about how that is. But I mean, obviously, out there it's good.
And as we figure out the best methods and the best, you know, XP per hour and this and that, as that takes its normal process, we'll be heading into a double XP weekend. So the prices are going to be, I mean, for the next month, price is going to be in flux, I think.
My goal for next week's podcast is to have a bit of a rundown on the XP per hours and determine where you want to be at what level and whatnot when mining, and you know, if you want to do AFK mining, what the difference is between AFK mining and the like. So look for that next week. My hunch is that the Animicas will come on top if you're active mining, as in you know, going for the max stamina and whatnot.
There's one better.
Oh?
You're not going to believe it, but there's one better.
For XP?
Uh-huh.
What is it?
Yeah, only XP. The special, what are they called? Salt crabs.
Oh, okay. Of course.
Mm-hmm. But those are good. Those are real good.
I don't know if I want to include that because those are limited.
Well, it's pure XP.
Right.
It's pure XP. It's not, you're not getting anything out of that. But I mean, I'm just saying it's there, and it's high. It's a pretty high rate.
Okay. All right. I'll investigate those two. Now, in regards to Trahernauer, Harm Door 1, 2, 3, those chats, the first two were full when I looked in to see what was happening, and numerous times just walking by World 66. Oh, we got one of each rock, so let's finish that out and use the remaining Dwarven Ram Hammers, and those were not nerfed this week.
I know. God, I wish I still had some. Oh, they're so good. I knew they were going to have trouble nerfing a treasure hunter item, but since it was discontinued, I thought maybe they would. But oh man, I wish I had some.
Okay, so upshot, Trahernauer is still good, splendid,
still good, still very good.
Now, last week I talked about loadouts and how you can effectively have a whole build for this mining now. And, initially what I was thinking of doing is I was thinking of going for a geode build in terms of trying to get the most geodes per hour. And as we all know, it is a 1 in 100 chance to have any geode that you get turn into a metamorphic geode. And what that does, when you open that, you have a 1 out of 11 chance of getting any number of good items. You could get Animica or Bane Stone Spirits or even Onyx or an Onyx dust. And the idea behind that is that would supplement the GP per hour while mining. But just based on what I've seen, I'm not sure that I want to go that much of the gambling route. So what I have instead done, focusing on this week's patch week and whatnot, what I've decided for the mining outfit, and I give full credit to the mining rework for this. I was able to complete my Magic Golem outfit with this update. I had a couple of pieces remaining, and that just was no big deal getting the shards to complete that. So that's done. So that's the main part of the outfit, the Magic Golem outfit, because it has the benefits of the golden mining suit. It also has the benefits of whatever rock armor tier that you have. So Magic Golem outfit is good. Yep.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. See, I went and got my golden mining outfit this week.
No, use the Magic Golem outfit because it has those benefits as well.
All right, well, I'll have to do that then. I think I actually own that one.
Yeah, and if you don't own it, you can make it with the shards that you get in mining using Invention. Just a brief reminder on the Magic Golem outfit, what it gives you. Now, this is the general theme as to why I'm going with this. You get a plus 5% critical chance.
Oh, yeah, with that,
you
with
also
the Quartermaster, boom.
You also get plus 1 Rockertunity multiplier. So, if you were mining the high-end stuff and you were getting plus 6, that becomes plus 7.
Yeah, that's an active mining dream right there. Like if you're,
And removes aggression from living rock creatures if you're down there. I don't think anyone will be who's using it for this purpose. And as I mentioned, golden mining suit and Varrock armor. So there you go.
Yeah, very, very cool. I'm going to get mine after the show. Luckily, all I have to do is find a bank, right? And then I can get it from Diango.
Bingo. Yeah. Now, the Varrock armor in this case, if you're mining, and that's what I'm primarily going to be using for, gives you a plus 2% chance of getting double ore.
Oh, that's really good. That's like using stone spirits.
Yep.
I mean, kind of, but no, that's cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's great. Now, with that being said, it adds on. Oh no, that's only for the one piece. Whoa, that's something else. I thought it was just 2%. Rock Armor 4. Oh, okay. And if you do the new Varrock tasks from the other dimension, you also get an extra bonus as well. You double. All levels of Varrock Armor have a double chance for double progress while smithing. All levels of Varrock Armor have a double chance to smelt double bars. All levels of Varrock Armor have a double chance to mine double ore. And, yeah. So...
Damn, see, I want those, but I don't want to go.
You got to complete the medium tasks for that in New Varrock.
Ugh, I won't do that.
Yeah.
We'll go that far.
Yeah.
And don't forget to perk out your earth and salt.
Yeah, and that's what I'm gonna get to next on this. So as it stands, when you're wearing the basic Varrock armor without doing the tasks from the alternate dimension, you get a plus 1% chance when you're mining Bane, Light Animica, Dark Animica, 2% chance for Rune, or Calcite, Draculith, Necrite, or Phasmatite, 3% for Mithril, Addy, Luminite, and 4% for Copper, Tin, Iron, and Coal. So as you go lower, it definitely helps if you're doing that. And I'll talk about what my hunch is on this. I haven't tested it out at the end of this. Remind me if I forget. But moving on to perks right now for the pickaxe, I ended up going with Honed and Efficient. Honed is the perk that we're using that is going to have a chance to give you double ore. Which I mean, at this point, if you're going for money, you're going to go with the Honed perk, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So, and I was going to go with the Geode build, as I said, but the Quarry Master aura now has plus 10% crit chance, so you're going to be mining faster when you're using Quarry Master. And if you're mining faster, I figured let's just go all in and go for that double ore with Honed. So I'm using Honed, and I also picked up Efficient, which reduces the divine charge on that pickaxe. That was as a recommendation from Pernasius in the Friends chat. Optimally, I wanted to get Enlightened, but I don't have Saren components. So if anybody out there wants to donate me about, I figure probably around 10 to 12 crystal items, because they're just stupidly horrible to buy on the Grand Exchange, let me know.
What does that perk?
Enlightened increases the amount of item XP you get.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
So. And, I'm still training Invention, so I'm thinking that might be a good thing. But if you are, north of 120 Invention, you might not want that.
Right.
At rank 3, it's a 9% XP increase on item XP. So.
Okay.
Then, rounding it out, Grace of the Elves, Luck of the Dwarves for the Saren Spirits, and the Luck of the Dwarves ring does increase your chance to get a geode as well. So, I mean, we're still doing a bit of that, but, I mean, it's not as much as it would have been before, right? So.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Then we got the Lava Titan, which is just a blank boost for your mining level and invisible boost. I also went to the extent of adding the mining cape perk to my max cape, so that makes it mining, divination, and farming now.
Oh, there you go.
The mining skill cape perk, let me get the exact wording on this one with right now, because, I mean, this is something that we want to get right with this. It's a 5% increase chance for double ore.
Yeah, I've actually just been wearing my mining cape when I go do mining, because I didn't want to feed my max cape more and have to redo it and all that. So I just been carrying it with me.
All right. Also, if I'm really aiming to increase the amount of ore and whatnot that I get, I'll throw in a Perfect Juju mining potion. And you could, but I'm not going to do this, you also throw in one of the scrimshaws as well.
Yeah.
The Perfect
You can
Juju,
also use... Can't you... I was going to say, can't you use the Perfect for that too?
The Perfect Plus potion, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. The mining potion is 10% chance to gain a stone spirit of the type of the ore that you're mining, and it'll use it up next time you mine, of course. So effectively what this is doing is increasing the amount of ore that you get by 10% per hour. And the perfect variant of it is that whenever a stone spirit is consumed, your stamina bar automatically refills.
Okay.
So what you're seeing here is that if you bring in a perfect plus potion or a perfect juju mining potion and you're using stone spirits, you're going to have 100% stamina all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll talk about stone spirits in the patch notes, because that's something that has been a bit of a bane of contention around the community. So, but I think stone spirits would be going for a lot more, and people would be using them a lot more if they knew about this little benefit right here. So,
yeah, that, and I mean, I think the other thing with the stone spirits is they only go up to the runite, so
that we can get right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only other source of Bane, Animica, and Dark Animica stone spirits is from the metamorphic geodes.
Yeah. And that's fairly rare. I mean, I've gotten some Baneite ones, but
it's a 1 in 100 chance to have that geode convert.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty rare.
Yeah. So that's also why I decided to not roll the dice and just go straight for the ore. So. Yeah,
I think that was a good choice on your part.
Yeah. So moving on from that, just a bit of a comment about PVM and trimmed masterwork. We were chatting with David this week, who helped us out with Solak and whatnot earlier in the year. Now, with that being said, it is his reporting that the new trimmed masterwork armor with its set effect that makes all incoming damage go into a pool and have it be released as a damage over time helps greatly when you're fighting Telos. And he says that for him, granted he's a PVM expert, 0 to 100% enraged Telos is practically AFKable now with this armor for him.
Every time I hear someone say any boss is AFKable, it just, you know what I mean? I'm just like, okay, all right, sure it is.
And it also has the benefit of if you're fighting Araxor, it makes Araxor easy, because previously people would use magic or range for Araxor, but now you have a reason to aim for an Araxor that is weak to melee, and you can just take all the Araxor damage and spread it out as a damage over time, and Araxor gets a whole lot easier.
Yeah, well, I mean, some people always did Araxor with melee because you could take him down so quickly, but it was a lot riskier from what I understood.
Yeah. So that's his input on that, and we're still waiting to hear exactly what the verdict is going to be on the masterwork armor and how much uptake it's having. I think and I hope when Elite Dungeon 3 comes out, it'll be melee focused and force people to actually take some of this armor in there, because that'd be really fun to see something that needs melee armor. So
when I trim my armor, it ain't ever coming off. So I'll be in there whooping Kriara melee. Like, I don't care. It ain't coming off.
How are you going to do that?
I don't know, but it'll be fun to try, right? I'll be in melee range shooting her with a bow.
Or you could use the armor spikes.
Yeah, there we go.
All right. Anything else from the mining and smithing rework that you want to bring up before we move into the fixes that were brought forward for it?
I can't think of anything offhand. I do want to say, if you don't have your golden mining outfit or your Incando pickaxe, they have made it so much better. It's so much better. Don't be afraid to go down there and get it, because I was, and then I just thought, well, if I'm going to mine, I'm not going to lose that 5%, So went down there and got it, and
6% if you actually have the full set.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And the same thing with the Earth and Song. I I was just going to use the Elder +5 pickaxe because I didn't want to mess. I thought it would be a big hassle. But right now, the friends chats are really hot for the lava geysers. So use them if you're planning on getting it, because that probably will die down in the next few weeks. But it's a lot easier to get it than it was, and they are really good.
Yeah. So. And when you say a lot easier, what you mean is that the RNG has been taken completely out of it, because you only need to mine the crust for a half hour at a time now to get one of the nymphs to appear and give you a piece of the armor if you don't have it. Otherwise, if you already do have the 5 pieces of the golden mining outfit, it's just a matter of taking a dragon pickaxe down there.
Yeah, and they keep like it keeps track of your progress. Like you can leave and come back and you're at the same progress.
Yep.
Like it's great. Like it's great now.
Yeah, I think the lava flow mine is going to be an interesting place to mine for people who are mid-level. That can't be underestimated. Because I am fairly certain that whether you AFK or if you go full focus mining there, it's going to be the same amount of time to get from 1 to the end. That's at least what I found.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the rates weren't what I would consider great, but maybe at that level it would have been. They would be okay.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that whether you 4-tick the crust or if you just AFK the crust, you're going to get the same amount.
Oh, no, that is interesting.
Because one, I made the explicit effort to 4-tick it throughout the entire 30 minutes. It took 30 minutes. Then the next one, I was, just AFKing, clicking every so often. It took, once again, 30 minutes.
Well, that might be. It might just be 30 minutes.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. And, you can't see what the HP is of the current rock there. You can, but you can't see how much it's going down by each time. That would be nice to see. So,
yeah. I'm okay with this, though, because it was AIDS trying to get that before, so I'm happy with the change.
All right, let's move on to the patch notes then. Now, as we mentioned, many of these patch notes weren't going to be game breakers, so I'll just start going through them. So, first and foremost, the solid lava geyser duration has been reduced drastically. And, these things would stay around for 5 minutes first before you could mine them. I don't know what they've taken it down to now, but if you did it this week, I assume you did it after the update?
Yeah, they're quicker.
But it's still fine, right?
Yeah, there's enough time. Like I was doing it with a buddy. He was hopping worlds, finding them, and then knocking them down with the water spells. And then he would have enough time to do that, and then call me in, and I would get my piece before it would go away. So
all right.
You have to be kind of quick, but it's not. It's not hard.
Players can once again make alchemical onyx necklaces at the furnaces. And, what you can see here is there's probably a bit of an edge case happening because the alchemical onyx was designed to come in with the old smithing mechanics, and it wouldn't have necessarily been brought in the alchemical onyx necklace into the new mining and smithing systems. That's likely why this wasn't able to be made when the update came out.
Makes sense.
Make X while making arrows is back down to 10 per instead of 60? Huh.
Oh, why?
I don't know.
I don't think 60 was overpowered. Come on.
I wonder if bolt tips were included in that, because if that's the case...
Well, that might have been, but they've never been the same. Have they? I
think 10 is fine.
Okay, well, there's still the Fletchers, so... we still got those. Yeah.
There's also now a message when your furnace perk activates while mining, which is the perk that gives you a 5, 10, or 15% chance to generate no progress but double XP. Nice little green message for that. Tuned Bane ores no longer have a chance to increase the amount of bars gained while smelting. Yeah, I actually noticed that in the beta. I thought it was a feature, to be honest.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it makes sense because you kind of need to tune the Bane ore first, and then you put one thing in to tune it, and it doesn't make sense to get multiple out. So I guess that makes sense. The achievement, my sick four-tick trick, boy, that's a mouthful, can no longer be unlocked by stalling the player during a mining operation. What does that mean?
Yeah, I don't know. How do you stall during the...
I don't know. It's no longer possible to attempt to store pickaxes on your tool belt in free-to-play worlds if you have a members-only pickaxe already stored, so Elder Rune, for example. When you have a high mining level members pickaxe on your tool belt in free-to-play when mining, this will now default to Runite. Excellent. That's the way it should be. The modified blacksmith's helmet will no longer allow players to make extra bars while smelting masterwork alloy bars.
Whoa. I was wearing that last week, too, and when I was making my bars. I don't think I got extra, though.
No, you're not going to be getting extra now.
Yeah, right.
Because could you imagine how...
Oh, that would have been nice. That would have been cool.
How that would have... how much that would have increased your progress by?
Oh, yeah.
All tiers of the Quarry Master ore have been doubled in their percentage chance of critical hits while mining. We already talked about that. Saren Stone Spirits now have a higher buy limit of 25,000 on the Grand Exchange. All right, we need to talk about this one.
Saren Stone Spirits? What are...
just Stone Spirits.
Okay.
Stone Spirits are the item, of course, that increase the amount of ore that you get while mining. And initially, these were set to some absurdly low limit, to the point these were only, selling for 1 GP at a time. Mm-hmm. They have since increased it to 25K. The price has gone up, but it's still nowhere near what people feel it should be at. And as we mentioned previously, the only source of stone spirits you can get in game right now are Runite and below, and those largely come from the Slayer and PVM drop tables.
Right.
And, I think the issue that we have here is that there's just so much ore, Rune, Addy, and probably Mithril to a degree, and definitely coal, it's just sitting in people's banks at the moment that there's no reason for these stone spirits to be used. Because, yes, you can gain extra Runite while you're mining Rune, and you could probably actually make some decent money off doing that if things are to be believed. But I don't know exactly if the stone spirits here were the right course of action for Jagex to take in this rework.
I think you're right when I think it comes down to there's just so much ore around. And we know how this works. We have a test case of this. It will take some time, but once that stuff is used, I think they'll be, their prices are going to go up because there's the stuff isn't coming in through any other means other than mining. So in a way, this reminds me of remember when they did the improvements to runes, and fire runes,
the rune value improvements, yeah,
and they went from 5 GP to 25 within a month. And there was huge quantities of those out there. But once they started getting used up, the price went up and everything worked out the way it was supposed to. And I really think it's going to be the same way with this. Yeah.
And I'm wondering if they needed if we need a sync for these ores that were in the game first, because we've been chatting about this in our Discord chat channel, which everybody can join by heading to rsbnb.com/discord, and the general sentiment is that David took his masterwork armor out and it went down to 99.1% charge. And it's going to take forever to get down there. And the question is there going to be enough of a demand in that tier 92 trimmed masterwork armor for people to put regular masterwork armor into it to recharge it to keep the prices of the ores up? That's the question I think that needs to be answered. Because, I mean, sure, you could say that you're going to be making Elder Rune +5s and whatnot to sell to make burial set effects for double XP weekend, and there's going to be a source of Rune, Luminite, and Dark Animica and Light Animica all used for that, and that's all fine and dandy. But this doesn't answer the question for Coal, for Mithril, for Addy, or the tier 60 and 70 pieces of ore, and Bane even for an example too. So I'm just wondering where the stone spirits are ultimately going to settle at, and unfortunately, I don't have an answer for that. And in chatting with David, he seems to think that they should have just removed the ores completely and not given stone spirits at all.
You know, I think that would. I mean, I'm definitely cool with that. Any time we can take stuff out of their pocket, it's fine with me. But the other thing I think that could be a possible solution with this is if when you're making your bars for the masterwork, you know, it's 600 of each ore. Period. That's 600. You know, Elder Rune bar. That's like 600 light animica, 600 dark animica, 600 copper, 600 tin. You know what I mean? Like it's the same across the board. 1200. Maybe the lower. Yeah, which is weird, but maybe Rune and under should all be 1200. Like maybe they should be double. Or maybe it should be tiered, you know, more a pyramid type of thing, you know, going, you know, from the top down to the bottom. I think that would have helped. It would have helped get them out of the economy faster. Yeah, and, you know, I think this was an issue of time, but, you know, what they could have done is they could have just reworked the blast furnace to make it a clone of what's that machine called that you get the Viswax from? The Rune Goldberg machine? Goldberg. Yeah, that. Make it kind of a clone of that. Just come up with some reason that the little dwarf down there needs ore every day for. And have it be some kind of ore with needing one of the high-tiered power ore, Bane, Animica, Dark Animica, two of the tier 70 and tier 60 ores, have it be a random chance, and then just increase it down there and make it a pyramid in that regard. It's not a bad idea. Yeah. Because let's be honest, when was the last time people actually used the blast furnace? This was the first time I've ever been there was this week because I needed that hammer for the song, the Earthen Song. Yeah. So never been there before. And, you know, granted, yeah, we look like we're sages or something saying this at this point in the game, but when it comes down to it, yeah, I totally understand that there wasn't time to work this into the update, and it would have just added more complexity to it, and this was a rework and affected the core skills and not necessarily the things surrounding it. So, oh yeah, I mean, I think it's totally forgivable. This, you know, we're going to have adjustments as we go. I'm still thrilled and amazed, and just think it's the best update I've ever seen. But this week was different to where you could look back and you could say, okay, well, I mean, taking nothing away from the update, I wish it maybe would have this, and this. You know what I mean? Yeah, like, and we got a question about that later. So, oh, okay. But let's move on in these patch notes. Stone spirits, I think, are going to be something we're going to keep coming back to. So I think we're going to have more than a few talks about them. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Breaking down Torva plate bodies and plate legs to use for trimmed masterwork armor will now give 5 and 3 Praeselook essences respectively. They weren't giving the right amount before. Yeah, they nerfed that. Yeah. They were giving more, and I don't know how I feel about that. Ooh. Yeah, they were. Yeah, so, I mean, it's really, the price of Torva is just stupid. No. It's like 53 mil yesterday for a plate body. Yep. Yeah. So even when we get something, damn it, PVMers still make out like bandits, right? Yeah. Fix the typo with Elder Rune bars on the smithing skill guide. Okay.
It initially said that Runite ore was required. So, shooting stars have also been re-enabled. They were disabled for the first week, which makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with that.
Players who custom-fitted their trimmed Masterwork sets before augmenting them can now repair them at an anvil if they are at 100% charge, and then can augment them again using an invention table. So this one is a mouthful and hard to parse out. But basically what was happening with this is that if you custom-fitted your Masterwork armor set and it got degraded, or you custom-fitted it first, you wouldn't be able to augment it.
Mm-hmm. So, all you elite guys out there, quit barging everywhere you go.
Yep, that's what happened. That's what happened to David. He did end up sinking another set of Masterwork on this.
Oops.
So now you can just repair it at an anvil and then re-augment again. Moving on, smithing auto heater is no longer tradable. That would have been an interesting bug.
Mm-hmm.
An error that allowed Masterwork to be repairable at an anvil was causing issues, and this has now been resolved and can no longer be repaired at an anvil. Instead, you should repair your used Masterwork armor at Bob and Lumbridge or at an armor stand near POH.
Okay.
So, and then that's it for the mining and smithing patches this week. So, not too much big. Not too much that's huge.
I'm telling you, man, they did. That's the most polished piece of any content I've ever seen. We didn't have big roll nerfs or buffs or, this was an invention with its 1500% buff or Priff with its God only knows what percentage nerf to the thieving, just over and over. This thing was smooth, like real smooth.
Yeah. All right. Some other patches before we move on. Player-owned farm animals can no longer be obtained by Iron Man accounts by popping Falador party room balloons.
That defeats the purpose, doesn't it?
Hey, we're having an animal drop.
Peter's going to be pissed.
The tree and master farmer outfits now correctly reduce the number of items required to pay protection costs when done via dialogue. Yeah, that's an important one. Next up, players can, if they so wish, use an empty bucket to gather buckets of slime at the pool of slime underneath the ectofunctus. However, players still do not require buckets to gather slime. So what they're effectively doing here is they're fixing an immersion error, because what you could do previously is you could just go down there, choose gather slime, and you would wind up with buckets of slime. But for some reason, people actually bring buckets down there, use them on the slime, and it wasn't working.
Huh.
So,
okay.
Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much it for the patch notes, except for this last one. A ferry near Zanaris Market no longer has a detached antenna.
Well, we can't have that.
Oh, there is one more. The Agility Skill Cape perk now prevents the failure on the Werewolf Agility Arena's Teeth Clenching Zipline.
Okay.
I haven't used that since the month after I became a member.
There was something we'd had to do. It might have been one of them checklist type things where I had to go down and do that, and it was terrible. It was worse than I remembered.
Yeah. Then there were some interesting changes for mobile, and they updated the interface builders on the Black Marketeer inside player-owned ports to use the modern interface guidelines. They also added an info mode toggle and some information on piano keys for the piano puzzle in the Rune Mysteries quest. The Observatory Telescope, the Lumbridge Task Ring interface, and the Makeover Mage and the Photo Booth have all been updated to use the modern interfaces as well. And that's where we're at with mobile. I think it's good to see that there's actually work happening behind the scenes here on mobile, and things are obviously progressing, and they're, as we saw in that last blog post, they're not where they had hoped they would have been, but things are moving along slowly but surely. So, a bit of a mobile update too.
I hope they get out from behind the scenes and start doing stuff in front of the scenes, because I'm starting to enter this point where I'm like, screw mobile games. Like, I don't even like them now. So I really hope I get this out of here before other people start feeling like that and the mobile craze ends, because that would suck.
I don't think the mobile craze will end, because, I mean, people are always going to have new smartphones.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so, but I don't know. Do you like mobile games, Shane? Do you like games on your phone?
Not particularly.
See, I don't either. I just don't think it feels natural.
They could be going after a different generation, though.
Maybe that's it. We're just a couple old geezers here, right? Talking about it's not the same.
No, but I mean, RS Mobile would be great for this week and many other weeks that we've chatted about recently. So
yeah.
All right. And I feel we should also point out your Informer article, Mining and Smithing Rocks.
Thank you.
That was a pretty apt title you gave it, and a nice rundown for it, everything that we talked about from the beginning last week and whatnot. So just head on over to informer.rsbnb.com and give that a read. So. And, with all this going on, it's easy to forget that it is actually Jagex's 18th birthday, or rather the 18th birthday of RuneScape, and they're still actually running birthday competitions here for this. So I'll just give a reminder to everybody what these all entail. They run until the 31st. There's one on the forums, and what you can do with this forums-based competition is that you can win a trip to the Jagex offices for 2. They say, discover where Gielenar was born and how we make it better every day. On Twitter, you can share the competition for a chance to win a copy of the freshly released soundtrack for CD or vinyl. This one ends on the 20th. Discord, post your stories and screenshots, achievements, fails, funny moments, whatever you want, to the 18th birthday competition channel for a chance to win some signed goodies. This one ends on the 27th. And finally, last but not least, they want you to share your favorite RuneScape screenshots with the RuneScape 18 years hashtag on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, or via competitions@jagex.com for a chance to win a unique 3D hand-painted figurine of Hans, the first ever NPC to see the light of day in RuneScape. This one ends on the 31st.
That's kind of cool. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Huh.
I'm wondering why they didn't include a link to the forum-based competition here.
Yeah, right. Well, that's crazy to think. Like, is that we must be the oldest MMO, right? Like, or at least
the MMO that has gone on the longest.
Yeah, like the biggest, that has gone on the longest kind of thing.
I don't know.
I don't know about Canada, but like it would be old enough to vote, drive, and get drafted here. So it could drink in Europe
and here,
I believe. And Canada's only 18. God damn.
Yep. Well, actually, some parts of Canada is 19.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy to
definitely
think.
Is. So I don't know if it's a reason to use Twitter and Instagram, though.
No, it's not for me.
Alrighty. Well, that pretty much wraps up the RS segment of the show this week. So before we move on to our question, we'll just take a moment to remind everybody about our Patreon page, which you can find at patreon.com/RSBNB. Currently, we're almost at the Inside RSBNB update tier, but first and foremost, I want to give a big thank you to everybody who is supporting us this month on Patreon, and that is Kyle, Brock H., Seth W., and Zez. Thank you very much, guys, for your support. It means the world to us. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Now, if you're wondering how you can join these fine individuals, just head on over to patreon.com/RSBANDB, and for $1 a month, you'll receive a special mention in our show notes and early access to those show notes, and you help fund RSBANDB, the costs of hosting and production for the podcast. For $3 a month, you receive a special VIP rank on Discord and a mention on the podcast at the start of the month, as well as high-quality stereo AAC versions of the podcast. And if you want to go up to the ultimate level of $5 a month, you receive a shout-out on the podcast every week and receive exclusive access to the outtakes that we use for the clip show at the end of the year. And yes, last week's episode did already have 2 clips for the clip show. So Patreon subscribers will gain early access to those, and 2019 is just beginning, so it's going to be a while till we all hear them at the end of the year.
Oh, yeah.
And we're also doing our monthly bit, which you can look forward to every month on Patreon. We also have Inside RSBANDB Update, where we'll be interviewing our hosts, co-hosts, and production team, and learning how the podcast comes together, and there might even be pictures involved with those. And should we reach $50 a month, we'll be doing the RSBANDB Update Roundtable on the first Saturday of every month, where we'll discuss everything and anything RuneScape related. And it's a fun, wide-ranging, free discussion that Patreon supporters will be encouraged to join in at. So more on this can all be found at patreon.com/RSBANDB.
Yeah.
All right. So we got a question this week and a discussion topic from Tyler with this. Where do you think that the mining and smithing rework has met, exceeded, or fell short of expectations? Well, I think on the Met side, I have to point to the mechanics of both skills that were updated. Actually, no, that's going to be on the exceeded side. The Met standard side is going to be that there was no major snafus that required rollbacks or huge nerfs, as you mentioned, Tannis.
Yeah.
That's definitely got to be there.
Yeah.
Because, when you have Invention come out, a whole new skill, as much these were, the mining and smithing rework, I think we can call new skills. Invention needed to have rollbacks because people were just leveling it by disassembling, and that wasn't right. So there was that. We didn't have anything like this. There were no rollbacks. And as we saw in the patch notes this week, the bugs involved with this rework are definitely light. So not too much to write home about in that regard. So that has met the standards, I would say, of being a successful launch in regards to only having minor bugs and niggles to work out. Now, for exceeded, I definitely got to point to the mechanics, and the mechanics for smithing are good. I like those, but I absolutely love the mechanics for mining, and I would say that they have exceeded expectations on the mining mechanics as well as the smithing mechanics. So the mining mechanics are just a little bit further ahead for me.
Yep.
How about you?
Yeah, I agree that they definitely met expectations when it came to not having bugs, not having big issues, that, and think about it, guys, because they reached in and touched everything from bosses to slayer mobs to the skills to your bank. Like, that is huge. And to not have any really bad things happen is really amazing. I think they exceeded, like you said, with the mining. It is. It's better. I knew it was good. Like, I knew it was going to be good, but it's even better. And I feel the same way with smithing when it comes to like the armor, the masterwork. It's better than I thought it would be. It's a lot better than I thought it would be. I thought there'd be so much back internally that they'd never be able to give us decent armor, but they did, and that's really good. Now, things that might have been left out, this week was a little different because I can like look at it and be like, oh, well, I wish we had this or that or what have you, but that doesn't take away from what they did, and they couldn't put everything in there. You know what I mean? Like, so I have that understanding. This is not this is not a criticism at all. The only thing that I would have liked to seen would have been, I think I'd mentioned this in the chat earlier. I would have loved to seen a tie-in for Linza. We have a signature hero that is a smith, and she could have been at the artisans, explaining masterwork or something like that. So, not a big deal. It's just, a little piece of lore that I think would have been a good little tie-in. But like I said, it's not a criticism. It's just something I would have liked to see. That's about it, really.
All right. As for me, I think it's got to come down to the economic side of it with that. And, I think at the end of the day, it's too early to say on that in regards to whether or not the whole dichotomy that's been set up for the masterwork is going to work in terms of keeping the demand up for things like Elder Rune and whatnot, and ores in general. So I don't know if that's going to work yet. So I have questions regarding that. At the same time, we did talk about the use of ores at the mid to high level and how they could have worked that into the blast furnace, but that's, of course, a topic for a different day and a different update in itself, probably. Another thing I think that they could have probably improved on is, the stone spirits. Because they put the stone spirits in game, and, I think at this point in time, it should be common sense that you need to look at how they're going to shake out to see, what do we got for these stone spirits? Are people actually going to buy them to the point that they need to increase the buy limits that week? And granted, it might have been economic teething or something like that, but that's something that could have been known going forward. And I'm really picking at hairs this time to try and find some things that could have definitely been improved. So let's just keep that in mind with that.
Right. When it comes to the stone spirits too, I think those are in there almost as an insurance in case people were too upset, because they wanted to not take away, which I think they could have. And the other thing is, I'm not sure that they thought players could actually produce enough ore without having that additional little, something. But I think if anything, we probably could have done without them altogether. I agree with David.
Yeah. And, I'm also not sure exactly where prices are going to fall, but, I think the time that we need to wait for this to come true is probably going to be, the typical amount of time it takes after double XP weekend. So, 2, 3, 4 months after double XP weekend, things are calming down. Let's just see how things are. And, if there's still a demand for all the ores throughout that, I'll say that's a success. And I was wrong about being worried about this. But I think the biggest issue that we're gonna see is that we can't answer those economic questions right now, and that worries players greatly. So I think it's definitely a worry. I think it's though something that was unavoidable. And since we're talking about things where they fell short for some players, you have the degrade bug for the masterwork armor, or the trimmed masterwork armor, when you're doing Slayer, and it's supposed to not degrade on a Slayer task, right?
Yeah.
Well, there is an issue where if you're hit by anything other than your Slayer creature, you will take a hit in terms of the amount of charge that your masterwork has. And the reason for this is because we talked about this in pre-show, and I'm going to use the example again, even though no one fights them, but it's a nice simple example, is that if you're fighting Necreals, the little death spawns that appear don't count as a necryl, so those are going to degrade your masterwork armor because they're hitting it, even though you're on a Slayer task killing necryls. The system that, or rather the engine underneath that runs Slayer, only knows necryl is a part of that and doesn't know about the death spawns, and as such, death spawns can't be immune from degrading your masterwork armor, and this is the case for other creatures as well. If you're doing them in an area of effect scene, that your armor will still degrade if you're getting hit by other things along the way. And there is, from my understanding, no way around this aside from a complete engine rewrite for the Slayer skill. So,
yeah, I mean that's fair. So if you're going to be wearing it, make sure you're fighting things that don't have minions. Which there's not a lot of stuff that has something like that. Not on the higher.
Oh, sorry,
end,
that's
anyway.
for custom fitted masterwork, not just trim masterwork.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, it's something people can complain about, but I'm wondering, is it really that big of a deal?
My opinion is not really, especially if the drain is that slow.
It's 50% of the regular speed, by the way, if you've custom fitted it, and that's who's having this problem.
Yeah, I don't think so, but I mean, I don't want to minimize anyone's problems really with that. It's just that, it has to degrade somehow, or there's no purpose for the masterwork, because the masterwork is used to repair the trim and masterwork. So, I just don't think it's all that big of a deal. I don't think it's that bad.
Yeah. All right. We can, of course, come back to this at some point in the future if we do have other things to add into this. Now, we do have another question from Logan via Twitter. He says, "Hey man, I've saved up a ton of materials for the smithing rework. I'd love to hear if you have any insight on some of the better XP per GP options." We talked about one of those for mining, the salt crablets.
Yeah.
That's going to be a great source of XP for the mining skill. That's probably one of the best, along with the animicas if you're 4-ticking it. And granted, yes, I know you did ask for smithing, but I wanted to cover the bases here and answer this question for everybody else when it comes down to best XP. So there's that one. But for smithing, we could just point at you and say, spend the money, make burial sets of Elder Rune +5. We could say that, but that would be a stupid thing to say.
That's awfully expensive.
Exactly. So we were actually chatting about this in our friends chat yesterday, which is Bits, Bytes in Game, in case you want to join it. But we had the idea that, maybe tier 50 rune or even tier 40 Addy put inside a burial set would be a good XP per GP option, and to suck up some of this ore that's been sitting in people's banks for this long.
Yeah.
Because here's the way it goes. You get 4,000 XP for burying a Addy set. 11,500 for a rune set.
That's not bad at all.
And this is a free-to-play. These are free-to-play armors. Which means free-to-plays are going to be smelting these at level 40 and 50. So even if it's not the plus... no, you can't upgrade those.
Wait a minute.
If you just put these out there, you can just buy them and do this.
You said that's a 4K drop?
Yeah, 4K
Experience
XP
drop?
for a set of Addy burial armor.
Dude, that's going to be 8K on double XP.
Uh-huh.
Oh, man. Ooh, I might have found something different to do.
You see where we're going with this, right?
Yeah, I do.
And upgrading these equipments, Addy can go to +2, Rune can go to +3. So even if you buy them at +1, you do a bit of smithing, and if you have Addy bars left over from fighting Kriara or Avian Seas for who knows how long, there's your smithing XP.
Yeah.
And
they're still they're going to be relatively cheap until they get out of the market anyway.
Yeah, and Addy bar is currently going for 2.1k market value.
Yeah. No one's going to think about that. Like, I haven't heard anyone else mention that, actually.
Well, credit to the, I think it was Thieves in our friends chat for doing that.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah.
Another option you could do for this is if you want to do rune and you want to do it yourself. I don't know if you want to do it yourself, but you want to bid along the way, mine Addy, and get the polishing perk.
Does that upgrade it to possibly rune or something?
It would upgrade it to rune, or actually just rune, because you're at level 40, so it would upgrade it to 50. So
okay. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting, and I would just say too, like, don't forget that don't be afraid to mine the rune. The rune's only level 50 now, so you actually mine it really fast.
Yeah.
Like, you can do it yourself with them smithing gauntlets.
Like the way this is looking is that one of the potential best sources of rune ore, assuming polishing ticks off quite frequently, and if you're doing this Addy option that we're outlining here, and you're wanting to make money along the way, is just to mine Addy or Luminite, because that's going to upgrade to rune. You can sell the rune, buy more Addy stuff, and away you go.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, can't forget the Luminite.
Yeah.
Gotta mine the Luminite.
So, I mean, this is something that I was alluding to earlier, and I didn't exactly check out yet on this. Is that I mean, Addy and Rune looks like it could be good XP, and I mean, like, what was I talking? It was like 4K for Addy and 11K for the Rune burial sets. So I mean that's
11K Rune. That's 20K a pop. If you had that saved up, dude, you think of the rates you could pull.
And if you have the achievements done, if you have the achievement done in the Artisan's Workshop for Solemn Smith, if you go all the way up to Solemn Smith 5, that's 12.6K for a Rune burial set.
You definitely made me have to think here, Shane. Now all I have to do is figure out how long it takes to do the burial, and then.
Well, no. All you need is a plus 3 rune armor set, and then you click make burial, and it's done. It disappears. You get the XP. Yeah. Yeah. So what I'm saying is go on to wherever, buy rune plate bodies, upgrade them again. Money or XP, depending.
Damn. That's a good idea, Shane. That's not bad. I mean, 20K a pop?
Yeah, on double XP weekend.
It's possible that smithing could overtake summoning in its speed. I mean, that's just for rune. Think what happens once you start going up from there. Like, holy cow.
Yeah. Burial set, Elder Rune, 192k XP for the set, 211k if you have Solemn Smith 5.
Oh, man. Oh, I need to get into an XP competition this time.
No, I'm thinking we should have done smithing this month.
Well, no, we need that for February, right?
Yeah.
Well, I need to encourage someone to do an XP competition during DXP so I can. I need to. I feel a beating coming on, Shane.
Yeah. So, I mean, when you look at it there are many options for doing this. You could go the full Iron Mana route. You could do your own Elder Rune. I don't know how many materials you have saved up, but when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, the Adamant and Rune items look pretty good.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, that's the most reasonable if you're going to be buying, you know.
Yep.
But I'm mining anyway, so, hey.
Precisely.
And if you're mining, dude, I mean, just think, you can buy the Stone Spirits for cheap right now. You're going to get double your pleasure, double your fun.
Let's see. An Adamant Plate Body 2 is apparently going for 62k on the GE right now. And what you could do is you could just buy these, finish it off, destroy it, and get additional XP by making it burial.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to log in and test this right now, see how much one of these goes for, if that's a proper market value or not.
Probably not.
Because I feel like we need to bring that forward here as one of the options for this. Because
I'm going to be mining from now till double XP, but believe it, dude. It is on.
So the question is going to be, are people going to focus in on the Elder Rune, or are they going to focus on these mid-level ones?
No, they'll focus on the Elder because that'll be the best XP per hour. So they'll focus on that if they can afford it. But for a poor person, man, at mid-level, we can pull some good rates for reasonable prices.
Yeah, and that's why I'm wondering how many materials here Logan actually has, because if you have, a boatload of materials, you're going to be able to do so much more.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could even, mine light Animica and dark Animica and
and then just buy rune ore.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And probably make a killing. Get a good... you're going to get a good XP from that.
And I think that's the number one thing that I've seen. I've seen everybody focusing on Bane and the Animicas, but no one bothers to focus on the little things like oh, that's the wrong button. No one wants to focus on Rune for some reason. This
honestly,
Rune and
I
Addy is free to play.
Honestly, I never would have thought of this. It was only your, oh gosh, just your, I don't know. It's just quintessential Shane to think of this. I don't know how else to describe it.
It was actually Thebes who suggested that in the chat.
But I'm surprised it wasn't. Surprised it wasn't you.
Yep, they're going for below market. I just bought an Adamant Plate Body for 46k GP. And they're listed for 62k on the GE right now.
It's not bad.
Now, if I take this to, if I take this to the Artisan's Workshop, and we'll just do that quickly, and we'll see how much XP you get. And what you can see happening is exactly the fast method of smithing here. So.
Mm-hmm. And there's going to be money all along there for people that want to make the plate bodies or the plate bodies plus ones or, just whatever it is. Make lots of, there's money. There's a lot of money.
Yep.
To be made there. Not bad.
All right. We're at the Artisan's Workshop now. For those of you guys watching on the video version here. And if we go into the back here, you got to use the special anvils at the back for this, because if you don't, you're not going to have the option of doing that. They're called burial anvils.
Okay, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So what you do with that is you click on Adamant Burial. And then you click on Adamant Burial Plate Body. And you just need an Adamant Burial Plate Body +2. Press the button. Are you sure you want to do this? It will destroy the item. Yes. And now, what I am doing is smithing this item. It takes no bars. It's currently moving through the progress. It got heated, and we'll just wait for this to finish here. But this just speaks to the entire update. How when you're looking at one thing and you might think this is the best way to go, but then you have this other thing that's completely just standing there and looks you in the face. So
options. Isn't it beautiful to have options?
Yeah. We're halfway done here with this, so just bear with us on this. And I didn't intend to do a live demonstration of this on the podcast, but hey, here we are.
Masters of improv, right?
Yeah. And I think you guys appreciate this for the questions, to have an in-depth answer like this. So, 238 XP left. A couple more ticks. Away we go. It's like Tanis's friend is getting anxious in the background.
Yeah, sorry.
You finish decorating the adamant plate body, and lo and behold, it's gone. And you got that amount of XP for it. Fast XP, no bars required.
It's not bad.
So, take it for what it's worth. It's an interesting option.
120 smithing, here we come.
Yeah. Alrighty, if you guys want to send your own questions in, you can email them to questions@rsbnb.com. We also take questions on Twitter @RSBANDB. Send us a DM, leave us a direct message, or send us a @reply to one of our tweets, and we'll get that in the podcast. Okie dokie. Moving on to tech news this week. Consumer Electronics Show is happening in Las Vegas. Lots of talk about new and interesting things, but most importantly, we have AMD announcing new Radeon 7 GPUs, which are supposed to, as they say, compete with NVIDIA. And we all know that's very important in the modern era, because the GPU market has been constrained due to the push of cryptocurrency mining, Bitcoin and the like, and that has made GPU prices spike up over the last 2 to 3 years or so. Now, there was a rumor that was started by a Chinese supplier that they said that the new Radeon 7 GPU would be in short supply, with AMD claiming that they had produced less than 5,000 units that they would be able to sell. And the report also said that AMD would lose money on these, but AMD released an official response in the form of a press release to these rumors, claiming that the company says that they will be able to meet demand from gamers, and that though they declined to release the actual production numbers on these, they did say that the company's AIB partners would be selling the Radeon 7 GPUs. So basically what that means is you can go to Sapphire, a different GPU company, or Asus to get one of these GPUs, and you won't necessarily need to buy it directly from AMD.com. But what this doesn't answer is if there will be custom variants of the Radeon 7, or if they'll just be strict reference designs as provided by AMD. But if AMD is to be believed on this, the new Radeon 7 GPU should be able to compete with NVIDIA's RTX 2080 line of cards that we heard about last year, and they should be able to do that at a lower cost and lower temperature value than the NVIDIA counterparts. So that should be good news for gamers all along.
An AMD coming in with a lower temperature than an NVIDIA, huh?
Yep. This graphics card will be released on February 7th for $699 US.
Well, I mean, that's probably cheaper than the... I can't believe it. Do you think it's really going to be competing with NVIDIA? Like, you think it's really as good?
They say it will be, though we haven't seen the actual benchmarks from them. But, AMD has been known for delivering performance before, whether it's in terms of the CPUs, as they did with the first 64-bit ones, or as they did with a couple generations ago GPUs. So I am cautiously optimistic that they will be able to, because a lot of the fluff about the 2080 when it came out was its RTX branding, which was focusing on ray tracing, but there's like 1 or 2 games out there that can actually use ray tracing today, and at the expense of that, it wasn't nearly as big of a performance buff from the 980 to the 1080 as the 1080 to the 2080 could have been because of that. So, but, we need this because NVIDIA has effectively been selling the same line of GPUs since 2016, so the market needs this competition. So it'll be interesting to see where we go from here. And what would be the perfect spot for this for AMD to be in is if these cards were not as good as mining crypto as the NVIDIA ones were, because this would create a line of video cards then for gamers, while the people who want to mine crypto could still go with their NVIDIA cards. So,
or I wish it was kind of the other way around, but yeah.
Yeah. I wish it was the other way around too. I prefer NVIDIA over AMD, but nonetheless, if we can get prices down for gamers, that's all the better, right?
Yeah, no, I was just curious because I always thought like AMD is really like it's a good value for the price point. But I just always thought that the NVIDIA would, kind of always has an edge. It's always, better, essentially.
Yeah. So February 7th could be interesting.
Yeah.
I don't think I need a new GPU, but I know people who do, so this is something we'll be watching.
Yeah, I hope, but I don't for a long time.
Yeah. We're entering the situation where GPU costs are the biggest part of building a computer.
Yeah, and it was the biggest part of it before for me, but still, I wouldn't want to do it again.
Yep. All right.
Yeah.
Next piece of tech news brings forward a rather unlikely partnership between DuckDuckGo, the search engine built for privacy, and Apple Maps. So DuckDuckGo has announced that they are going to be providing a mapping service using Apple's MapKit JavaScript framework. And the idea behind this is that they want to provide to their users a valuable combination of mapping and privacy. And they're also one of the first companies to use Apple's MapKit platform on the web. And, this has typically been the domain of Google, but Apple is now getting into the game, providing their privacy-centric view on mapping and, in general, online services, or so they say. Of course, being a company, you can't completely 100% trust them on that, but it is what it is. Now, what they want to do with this is they want to use this technology to offer users improved address searches, additional visual features, and enhanced satellite imagery, as well as continually updated maps, which anybody who uses an Apple device knows that Apple Maps got off to a bit of a rough start, but it works. It works today, I think. Google is a bit more intelligent, but Apple Maps does the job and gets me where I need to be. I don't know about you.
Never used it.
Okay. And one example they give is if you use the example search query, pizza in Cupertino, the map will appear as a module within the search results. And this is something, of course, that Google does, but DuckDuckGo couldn't have done before because they didn't have a mapping platform that would honor privacy. And that's what DuckDuckGo is all about. And, I honestly don't think I'd ever be able to give up Google for the pure utility of the searches that it provides. But at the end of the day, I think this offers a good option for people who are privacy concerned. So
yeah.
You ever use DuckDuckGo?
I never heard of it until now. But I would try it now. I'm all in favor of anything. I think Google is bar none the best, but in order to keep them doing what we want and innovating, they need competition. So, glad to find out about it, and I would try it.
Yeah. Okay. And you know, I don't know in particular if I like the way the search results go. I just feel that Google is a well-worn shoe, and I just end up using it. So, but
is it better than Bing? That's what I need.
I don't know.
Because that one I absolutely hate.
I don't have an answer to that.
I'm sorry, but I don't like that one at all.
Yeah. All right. And what they say with this, their strict privacy policy entails not collecting or sharing any personal information, and they do not send any personally identifiable information such as IP addresses to Apple or other third parties. And for local searches where your approximate location is needed, it's sent by your browser to us, and they discard it immediately after use.
Oh, that's good.
All right. Next piece of tech news, Steam 2018 year in review. And normally people post these in December.
Yeah, a little late this year.
So, to sum this up, the reason I put this in tech news is because it appears as though we've always had the constant trend in 2018 of hearing that this is the next competitor, Steam. They're going to knock Steam off the edge of being the top game provider, right?
Well, we've had a lot of people this year want to do that.
But
they have to be that.
But
they have not.
Based on the stats here, they have not prevailed. Steam has 47 million daily active users, 90 million monthly active users. Their peak concurrent users in 2018 were 18.5 million and 1.6 million new purchasers per month. So 1.6 million people who have never purchased on Steam in the year aggregated purchase per month. 1.6 million new people.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's really good.
And, they're also fairly honest in this, talking about the upcoming game list, expanding content, filtering tools, making moves to deal with their fake games and whatnot, and continuing to remove troll developers and whatnot as well. So, and, we heard about this before, the issues with Steam. So I think when we look at this, Steam is definitely in the pole position. They're in no danger from anyone, and I don't know if there is ever going to be a danger for Steam, and based on these stats, I don't think so.
I wouldn't think so. None of the others have really took off like I thought they would, and I mean, hearing those numbers now, it's hard to believe that they ever could actually be a threat.
Yeah. The three biggest market shares for Steam are North America, Western Europe, Asia, followed by Oceania, and then something called CIS. I'm not sure what CIS would be spoken geographically.
What is Oceania?
Australia, New Zealand.
Oh, okay. All right. I was like, what is... I've never heard of that before. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then they also talked about the progress of improving Steam Chat, which we all know was a swipe at Discord. But I think the thing I want everybody to take away from this is that Steam's not going anywhere.
Yeah, no. And you know what? Everyone lets this stay in their lanes for now. Steam, you're not going to take over Discord's voice chat. And Discord, you're not going to take over Steam's selling of their marketplace, okay?
Yeah. There's also another interesting bit here about the controllers. The most popular controllers on Steam are the Xbox 360 controller, followed by the Xbox One, then the PS4, then the PS3, and then the Steam controller is fifth in that list. So,
see, I use a Xbox 360, but I would have loved to have been able to use a PlayStation. I never could figure out how to get that up and going.
That's what I was wondering as well. So.
Yeah, it's really convoluted. I couldn't do it. I tried, but I couldn't make it happen. So this is a lot easier to plug in an Xbox controller. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, there's your tech news for week 2 of 2019. We're going to go over some other little things here, starting off with our skill of the month, which is ranged, which should have been mining or smithing, but we'll look at that for February and March. Currently, in our ranged competition, we have Sorensen 57 in first place with 29.6 million XP gained, then Jam Andy 52 with 19.5, and Compsci with 3.8 million XP gained. So, it's safe to say nobody wanted to focus on ranged for this month when it is indeed a mining and smithing month. So,
well, Sorensen apparently did. I mean,
yeah. Sorensen always wants to focus on everything. So,
was at 29 mil already? It's not bad.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
And unlike last week's huge list of achievements, we only have 5 of them this week, so I'll run through these with no problem. First up, Dirtbolt New with 99 cooking on the 16th. An XTM Maris with 99 farming on the 16th. That's an interesting name. Diosceles with 99 invention on the 15th. Antivistic with 99 fishing on the 14th. And Duke Juker with 99 defense on the 12th. Good job, everyone.
Yeah, nice achievements.
All righty. You ready for Shane's first pick of 2019?
Yeah, let's see what you got for us, Shane.
Okay, so I'm going to tell everybody a story here first. And, this story goes back to the 1960s. So in the 1960s, there was this thing called the space race. And there was a race to see who could get to the moon first and who could...
And we won. We won.
The U.S. won, and who could put the first man in space, and who could land on the moon first. And there were lots of interesting things to happen with this. Lots of fatalities in some cases on the Russian side, and even on the U.S. side. There were even near disasters in space, like with Apollo 13 and others. But there was something that not many people actually know about. And, when you were in the 1960s and whatnot, and even still today to a degree, the primary way of taking down information up there, because they didn't have computers in the way that we have tablets and iPhones, is that you had to write the stuff down, right? Mm-hmm. But what people don't realize is that when you go to space and you take a pen up into space, a standard ballpoint pen, it doesn't work.
Oh, yeah.
Because of no gravity.
Yeah,
and
I never thought about that.
It doesn't work when you're writing when there's no orientation. It needs the gravity to force the ink out into the well, right?
Yeah.
Out into the tip. Yeah. So what the Russians did is the Russians took pencils up. And what happens with pencils? They dull down. You need to sharpen them. They can break. And when you sharpen a pencil, that's a messy process, right?
Yeah.
But there's one other thing. These little graphite flakes that were floating around from your pencil sharpening are extremely flammable if they're in the air.
Well, that's a problem.
So if they're exposed to air, there's a chance that they can start on fire. And the Russians had this problem. And the Americans already knew this. So what was their response? Their response, NASA's response, was to contract out to a company in Nevada, and the company still exists today. They produced something called the Fisher Space Pen. And this pen is unique in that it has a cartridge that is completely sealed and pressurized so that it would work in zero gravity. It works upside down. It works in whatever temperature you can imagine to put it out in. And they still sell these pens.
Oh, that's cool.
And you can pick up one of these pens, believe it or not, at spacepen.com. And they sell the original design that they sent up into space. It's called the AG-7, the original astronaut pen.
Really?
Yes.
Huh. How much do these things go for, Shane?
They retail at an MSRP of $60 on the Space Pen website, but you can probably find it for a bit cheaper on Amazon. But you only buy the pen once because it's refillable.
Oh, wow.
And for $5, you can go to the Space Pen website and you can purchase a refill. They have all colors, they have all thicknesses, and so they come with black by default, but if you want blue, it comes with black medium by default, but if you want blue medium, you can just get a replacement cartridge for it. And that is the pick of the week, the Fisher Space Pen.
That's pretty cool. I have someone in mind. I might have to get one of those for.
Yeah, and you know they do sell other ones as well. They sell a more modern version that has grips all the way up. That they call that one the Shuttle. I don't know if that one was used on the Space Shuttle, but NASA still uses the Fisher Space Pen. It is an American company produced in Nevada, and you don't get more American than that, and you don't get more space race than that, using capitalism to solve a problem like this. And they also sell other ones too that you can buy that aren't metal based. If you don't like metal pens, they sell plastic ones. They're all refillable. They all use the same cartridge technology. But you can find more on spacepen.com. But I'll be putting the one that I use in the show notes at update.rsbnb.com. So that's the pick of the week.
Very cool.
The Space Pen.
Very cool. Space Pen. All right.
So spacepen.com.
Give me the Space Pen.
Yeah, it's a fun thing to tell stories about, but it is the smoothest pen that I have ever used.
Oh, that's cool. Well, my wife and I are both kind of space nerds. We've been to NASA several times.
Yeah.
And
I
think she went to space camp. So,
and what you can actually do is you can have engraving on here as well.
Oh,
you can get your pen engraved.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm feeling a birthday.
You can get up to 3 lines of engraving.
Very cool.
So.
Oh, you could totally pimp that out. Like.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
So.
Right on.
Let's see. Pressurized cartridge refills, just to give you an idea of the colors that are available. They have medium, fine, and bold. Medium comes in black, blue, red, green, burgundy, purple, brown, turquoise, and silver. Fine comes in blue, black, red, and green, and bold just comes in black and blue.
Okay.
So there we are.
Yeah, that's a good pick, Shane. I like it.
Yep, and there's more on the list for this year too. So stay tuned for my picks of the week. With that being said, what you been up to?
Finished my Masterwork armor. So I finished that this week. Folding takes a very long time.
Yes.
I mean, it all takes a long time, and I mean, I'm cool with that, you know, like, but it's funny to see everyone like in the artist is like, man, Masterwork takes forever. I'm like, yeah, it's supposed to. Like, so that's what I've been doing now. I went back to mining because the essence for like the Torva and the Malevolent, it's just, especially the Torva, it's so expensive that I'm gonna probably have to make a couple sets of this and sell them in order to be able to buy the essence to be able to trim another set. So, but essentially just mining and smithing, and I couldn't be happier. I mean,
all right.
Yeah.
As for me, I got my perks set up on the pickaxe, as I said, a couple of herb runs in and about, and aside from that, just as I said, I did let the farm kind of run away, so did a bit of catch up on that as well. So that's what I've been up to this week, and my goal for next week, as I said on the podcast, is to provide a comprehensive look at where you should mine based on XP, whether you want to AFK or not. And I think we found the way in smithing, but I'm going to look more into that as well. So that'll be in clarification for next week, and I think we'll be able to wrap that chapter up of the mining and smithing rework, probably. So,
man, my poor farm probably looks like a hoarder's backyard, just mangy animals back there, haven't been taken care of for months.
Well, you're going to have to come back to it later this month because we're getting the farmhands update.
Oh, yeah. Cool. All right. Yeah.
Well then, with that being said, thank you everybody for joining us for this episode of RSBANDB Update. We'll be back next week with what I believe is Combat Week, if I remember correctly, based on what we saw teased on social media this week. But if you want to join us in the meantime, head on over to our friends chat, Bits Bytes, or you can join us on Discord at rsbnb.com/Discord, and we'll see you next week, everyone. Take care.
See ya.